The photo in Marcus's hand felt heavier than any file, heavier than the years of prejudice he had endured. His wife's voice echoed softly, trying to anchor him, but the single word on that envelope, "Run," clawed at his chest. Whoever was behind this wanted more than his silence. They wanted fear, control. The next morning, the office buzzed with whispers. Investigators moved through the building, reviewing Whitaker's contracts, interviewing employees. Marcus walked the halls with a steady face, but his mind replayed that photo over and over again. Angela approached him, lowering her voice. "Marcus, are you okay? You look like you've seen a ghost." He forced a smile. "I'm fine. Just a lot on my plate." But Angela's kind eyes lingered on him, unconvinced. "If something's wrong, you can trust me." He wanted to tell her, to share the weight. But one look at the photo tucked in his briefcase reminded him anyone could be a target. Anyone. Later that day, Marcus was summoned to the boardroom. The chairman sat at the head of the long table, the board members flanking him, their expressions grim. "Marcus," the chairman began, "your interim leadership has stabilized the company. Clients are regaining trust. But this investigation, it goes deeper than Whitaker." Marcus's stomach tightened. Deeper? How deep? The chairman slid a document across the table. Some of the fraudulent contracts lead back to powerful outside partners. Politicians. Developers. People who don't want these truths uncovered. Marcus scanned the document. His pulse raced. These weren't just accounting errors. These were bribes. Payoffs. Millions buried under fake deals. The chairman's voice lowered. "We're placing you under protection, Marcus. Until this is over." "Protection?" Marcus asked, frowning. The chairman adjusted his glasses. "We've reason to believe Whitaker wasn't working alone. Someone higher, someone who stands to lose everything, is still pulling the strings." Marcus thought of the photo, of the envelope. He didn't tell the chairman. Not yet. That night, as Marcus walked to his car, he noticed the black sedan again. Parked across the street. Engine humming. Windows tinted. His breath caught. He pulled out his phone, pretending to dial, but the sedan didn't move. Instead, the back window rolled down just enough for Marcus to see the faint glow of a cigarette. Then slowly it rolled back up. Marcus got in his car and drove off, but every streetlight seemed to throw his reflection back at him. Every turn felt followed. When he finally reached home, his wife was waiting at the door, worry etched on her face. "Marcus, what's going on? You're jumpy, you're not sleeping. Talk to me." He took her hands, his voice cracking. "It's bigger than Whitaker. Someone's watching us. They sent me a picture of you, of the kids, of our home." Her eyes widened, filling with fear. "Oh my God. I promise," Marcus whispered, "I'll protect you. No matter what." But even as he said it, he wasn't sure how. 2 days later, Detective Harris arrived at Marcus's office. Broad-shouldered, stern-eyed, his trench coat dusted from the rain. He flashed his badge. "Marcus Hill." "Yes. I'm Detective Harris. I've been assigned to your case. I hear you've stirred up a hornet's nest." Marcus gave a bitter laugh. That's one way to put it. They spoke behind closed doors. Marcus told him everything. Whitaker's downfall, the fraud, the envelope, the photo. Harris listened silently, his expression unreadable. When Marcus finished, Harris leaned forward. "You're in the crosshairs, Marcus. Whoever sent that photo, they're not just threatening you. They're testing you, seeing if you'll fold." Marcus's jaw tightened. "I won't fold." Harris studied him. "Because if you're right, this goes beyond corporate fraud. We're talking organized crime, political corruption, people who make Whitaker look like a schoolyard bully." The words settled like lead in Marcus's chest. That evening, Marcus received a call from an unknown number. He hesitated, then answered. A distorted voice filled his ear. "You should have run." Marcus's blood froze. "Who is this?" Silence. Then a chuckle. "You think you're a hero. Saving the company. Exposing Whitaker. But heroes die first." The line went dead. Marcus gripped the phone, his knuckles white. He rushed to check the locks on the doors, the windows, every corner of his home. His wife watched him, fear growing. Marcus, what if they come here? He swallowed hard. Then they'll have to go through me first. The next day, the board gathered again. Whitaker was absent. Rumors swirled he was in hiding, waiting for his lawyers. But Marcus noticed something else. The chairman seemed uneasy. During a break, Marcus approached him. "Sir, is there something you're not telling me?" The chairman sighed, removing his glasses. "Marcus, some members of this board were aware of Whitaker's dealings. Not all, but some. If this explodes publicly, it won't just be Whitaker who falls." Marcus's chest tightened. "So you're saying there are people in this room protecting him?" The chairman's eyes flicked away. "I'm saying, be careful who you trust." That night, Marcus received another envelope on his doorstep. He froze before picking it up, his wife watching from the hallway. Inside was no photo this time. No word scrawled across the front. Just a single business card. On it was the name of a well-known politician, one who had been a frequent guest at Rivers and Company. And written across the back, in bold ink, "Next move is yours." Marcus's heart pounded. The faceless enemy had revealed a piece of themselves. The taunt, a challenge. But as Marcus stared at the card, headlights flashed outside his window. A car pulled up quietly, its engine still running. His wife gasped, gripping his arm. "Marcus, they're here." And before he could move, before he could even breathe, there was a knock at the door. The knock echoed like thunder through the quiet house. Marcus's wife clutched his arm, her breath ragged. He moved slowly, steadying her with one hand while reaching for the baseball that he kept by the door with the other. Another knock. From her. "Marcus Hill." A voice called, calm but commanding. "It's Detective Harris." Marcus hesitated, peering through the peephole. Relief washed through him as he saw Harris's trench coat, his badge raised. He unlocked the door cautiously. "Detective," Marcus exhaled, lowering the bat. "You nearly gave us a heart attack." Harris stepped inside, scanning the street behind him before shutting the door. "We need to talk. Now." They sat in the living room. Harris leaned forward, his face grave. "I got word tonight. Whitaker isn't the end. He was just a pawn. The politician on that business card you found? He's the one pulling strings. Whitaker covered for him, funneled money, kept the books cooked. But the real power, it goes higher." Marcus glanced at his wife, then back at Harris. "Why tell me this? Shouldn't you be protecting us?" Harris's eyes narrowed. "Because you're already in it, Marcus. They've marked you. But here's the thing, you've got leverage. Evidence. The board trusts you, the employees look up to you. And I think you're the only one who can bait him into making a mistake." Marcus's stomach dropped. "You want me to lure him out?" Harris's tone was steel. "It's the only way." The plan was simple but dangerous. Marcus would confront the politician publicly in a way that left him no room to hide. A press conference. Evidence handed directly to the media. If Whitaker was the mask, this man was the face behind it. The next morning, Marcus walked into Rivers and Company with a folder tucked under his arm. Employees watched him with cautious hope. He had become a symbol, proof that one voice, one act of courage, could topple giants. Angela intercepted him in the hall. "Marcus, what's going on? Rumors are flying. They're saying Whitaker's not the only one dirty." Marcus paused, giving her a steady look. Then it's time the truth came out. All of it. By noon, reporters packed the company's lobby. Cameras flashed. Microphones stretched forward. Marcus stood at the podium, the folder of evidence beside him. His heart pounded, but his voice was calm. "Months ago, I was fired from this company, not because of my work, but because of prejudice. I was underestimated, dismissed. But what was hidden in the shadows then, is now in the light." He opened the folder, holding up documents, contracts, payments, signed approvals. The evidence. These papers show a network of fraud. Money funneled through fake projects. Not just by former executive Charles Whitaker. Marcus paused, letting the room hush. But by Senator Victor Lang. Gasps erupted. Reporters shouted questions. Cameras clicked furiously. The name landed like an earthquake. Marcus pressed on, voice unwavering. Whitaker fired me to protect himself. Lang used Whitaker to cover his tracks. But corruption cannot silence truth. Today, we begin to hold them accountable. The room exploded with noise. Reporters surged forward. And then, shouts at the back. A man pushed through the crowd, flanked by bodyguards. Senator Lang himself. His jaw was tight, his eyes like cold steel. "You've overstepped, Hill," Lang hissed, his voice carrying over the crowd. "Those documents are stolen. Fabricated. You think anyone will believe a disgruntled employee over me?" Marcus didn't flinch. "They already do. Because unlike you, Senator, I have nothing to hide." The cameras turned toward Lang, catching the sweat beating at his temple, the twitch in his jaw. For the first time, Marcus saw what Harris meant. Power wasn't invincible, it was fragile, desperate when cornered. Moments later, Harris and a team of officers stormed in, badges flashing. The crowd parted in chaos. "Senator Victor Lang," Harris announced, "you're under arrest for fraud, bribery, and conspiracy." The lobby fell silent. The sight was surreal. The powerful senator, once untouchable, now cuffed in front of flashing cameras. Lang's fury twisted into something darker. As officers led him away, he spat toward Marcus. "This isn't over. You've made enemies you can't even see." But Marcus didn't respond. He stood tall, steady, the applause of reporters and employees rising around him. That evening, Whitaker's face appeared on the news. He had been found hiding in a suburban safe house, already singing to investigators about Lang in exchange for leniency. Marcus watched from home, his wife at his side. She squeezed his hand. "It's over, isn't it?" Marcus stared at the screen, where Whitaker's once proud face looked broken, hollow. "Yes," he said softly. "At least for now." The following week, the board formally removed Whitaker, severed ties with Lang, and named Marcus permanent director of operations. Applause filled the room as the vote was announced, but Marcus didn't smile for victory. He thought of the warning Lang left behind, of the black cars, of how deep the rot had gone. After the meeting, Angela approached him. "You did it, Marcus. You didn't just save the company, you changed it." Marcus looked out at the employees beyond the glass wall, people who had once looked away when injustice unfolded. Now they looked at him with respect, with hope. "Change doesn't end here," Marcus replied. "It starts here." That night, Marcus sat on his porch, the city lights glowing in the distance. His wife brought him tea, resting her head on his shoulder. For the first time in months, the weight on his chest eased. Whitaker was finished. Lang was exposed. The truth had cut through the lies. But Marcus knew the world wasn't suddenly clean. There would always be another Whitaker, another Lang, another shadow reaching for control. The difference now? Marcus wasn't invisible anymore. He wasn't silent. He had found his voice, and he would never let anyone take it again. As the night wind rustled the trees, Marcus whispered to himself, a vow not just for him, but for everyone who had ever been underestimated, dismissed, silenced. The truth always comes out. And this time it won.